All right, so in this tutorial, we are going to go through how to search engine optimize a page. And as an example, I'm going to use this article that I've written called How to Do an Online Competitor Analysis. Okay, so first of all, we're going to take a look through our content here. We got some stuff that we've written, and we want to pick what the long tail keyword is. Now that means what is the keyword that this post is about that is maybe not just a single keyword. It's not like analysis, right? Because analysis doesn't really make sense in the context of all of this. Analysis is way too broad of a word, because you could be talking about single cell analysis, or you could be talking about analysis of algorithms, or you could be talking about analysis of dirt. So it doesn't really make any sense when we're talking about an online competitor analysis. That is more of a long-term set of keywords. It makes more sense. So what this post is about is how to do an online competitor analysis, but the long tail keyword probably would be online competitor analysis. That's what we're kind of going for in terms of optimizing this page. So now that we know that, we can do something about it, and we can start to actually do the optimization of everything. So that's the first thing that you need to actually figure out. So once you've done that, then you want to make sure that the keywords for that long tail keyword is in the title of your page and it's in the description of your page. So I'm in WordPress, and I'm using a plugin here called Yoast Seo, which makes it easier for me to kind of highlight all the things that are that we're optimizing within the page. So within this plugin, I can hit to edit the snippet. You can see here, this is like a preview of what it would look like in Google search results or something like that. So if I hit edit snippet, then I could go in there excuse me, and change the title and change the description if I wanted to. Now I've already typed in, you can see that the SEO title is How to Do an Online Competitor Analysis, Sonic Interactive Solutions. So that's automatically being put in. So I don't have to type in a different one here in this field. But then the meta description, I typed in here, an online competitor analysis is a survey of what your competitors are doing online. It's a grade for their website, it's a measurement for their effectiveness online, and it's a research into how much they are spending for advertising. So I kind of put it all into a nice little succinct what it is in the meta description. But there are those words, online competitor analysis. So they're right there, and then they're also part of the title. So the title and the description are special fields that are on your page that you need to make sure are correct and that actually contain the competitor or the keywords that you're going for. So for us, it's that long tail keyword. Okay, so then the next thing we want to do is go through your content and rewrite it slightly, or adjust it as you need to have those words in it. So here's my title. Here's a subtitle, online competitor analysis. What is it? And then in this paragraph, an online competitor analysis is blah, 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 blah. And we go through the site. So you want to actually just read through your content the one time and go in there and figure out where you can kind of slot in those exact words into the thing where it makes sense. Obviously, don't try and just slam it in there 70 times. But put it in there wherever you can find it that makes sense, that can make sure that those three words, for my case, or all of your long tail keyword is actually in place. So the next thing that you need to do is make sure that you have a heading on the page. So this is a heading 2 that has those three, or that long tail keyword. And if you have another heading, so I have a heading 3 here, heading level 3 that has it as well, that helps. A heading level 1 or level 2 is kind of what search engines are mostly looking for. So those are the ones you want to concentrate on. Next, as you go through your article, you want to take a look and see if there are any places where it makes sense to mention the long tail keywords more, or to add it in. So not only changing a few sentences, but maybe you're like get to the end of one paragraph here and you're like, oh, I could maybe describe it a little bit more here, and then I have the opportunity to talk about what that long tail keyword is another time. Now, the next step is to go through the article, and you can see where I've kind of already done this a little bit, and that's where I'm linking to another post. I'm linking to a different page on my site. So if there's any content that you have on your within here where you're talking about something else that you've written about, or something else that you could link out to, and that might even be another website somewhere else, you can consider linking out to those things. Now, linking out to other websites should be done sparingly, because you don't really want to encourage a lot of people to be leaving your site. But if you have one or two links out to other websites, then that's okay. For me, I've got this website Grader, I have the Woo Rank, I have this Baifu, I have the Alexa. So those are linking out to the sites that we're talking about here. So once you've linked to anywhere that might be some internal pages on your site, and maybe some external pages that are outside of your site, you can move on to kind of the next section where you try and find a picture. So I have a featured image as my picture on this site, and that's the only real picture. The rest of these pictures are just links to these other companies. So they're not necessarily to do with my keywords, they're to do with those companies. But this one is a picture of me doing a competitor analysis, if you want to call it that. So if I click on this, there's the image, and there's where I put in competitor analysis as the name, and then I put in some extra text that describes the picture and what it is that I'm doing. So that's the alt text for that image that you can go in and add to. That's important to do that, so that you've got kind of extra information for the search engines to index that have to do with what your long tail keyword actually is. So do that for all the images on your article. If you have any extra images that you can add in that would help illustrate your point, but then also be able to be keyworded with what your long tail keyword is, then that's perfect. That's going to help you for a bunch of reasons. Now, if for some reason my screen here has a word count and it's 587 words. So if your article is less than 300 words, you might want to consider trying to add it a little bit more. Now, I'm not saying that you need to like totally just add in more fluff for the sake of writing. But if you can say everything that you need to say within the first 150 words, then that's totally fine. Go ahead and do that. Say what you need, and then put in a little sentence that says, that's all you need to know. But below is some additional information about some details about blah, 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 blah. So that's where you can kind of tell the reader, okay, well, you don't need to read the rest down below unless you want to know more details about this, this, and this. And then you can go on to, add a little bit more text, a little bit more description, a little bit more, opinion or whatever you want to put on there that can talk more about your topic without having to just make it sound like you're just trying to make your page bloated. The reason for this is, well, two reasons. One, you want to make it more readable for people. So obviously you're not trying to just fluff it up for no good reason. But then secondly, most search engines are going to prioritize content that's over 300 words, because the majority of the time that when it's an important topic, you just get more points in terms of your page ranking if your page is more than 300 words. So that's typically good to do, and 500 is even better. So just go ahead and do that. Okay, so that's pretty much it in terms of doing the basic on-page search engine optimization. You've found out what your keyword was, your long tail keyword, and you made sure that it was in a heading. You made sure that it was sprinkled around in your copy as well. You made sure you had some links to some other pages on your site if you need to, and some links to some external sites if it makes sense to be doing that. And then you can kind of move on to the next step. And you have your pictures, and you make sure that they have the right categories or the right alt text on them. And then if you have a plugin like Yoast Seo, then here you can see I've got kind of the green light for everything here, which is basically telling me that all of my stuff are set up fairly well in order for me to get a good ranking, to be indexed well. Now here's a problem. It says the focus keyword, which I sit in there as online competitor analysis. It doesn't appear in the first paragraph, but make sure the topic is clear immediately. So that's a choice that I decided to make, because this first paragraph actually points people back to the introductory to inbound marketing. So I chose to have the first paragraph be that instead. And everyone has their own choice as to what they want to do. I'm going for the readability of the person actually going to the page, and not the search engine trying to crawl my page, because I want it to work. I want it to work well for the people that actually show up there. So I'm totally okay with having that. Now, some of the images on this page don't have the alt text attributes, and that would be these images here of these logos, and that's because I don't really want them to be findable, so I'm okay with them not having any additional indexing on them or any additional information, but that's a choice that everyone kind of gets to make based on what they do. So if you want a picture to be findable, or if the picture actually is related to your focus keywords, then you want to make sure that you have that alt text, but then otherwise you don't really need to. The other cool thing that this plugin does here is allows me to go through the readability test. So we can see here that the majority of my sentences are all good they're fairly easy to read. They're in and around short sentences that are more, only a little bit of them are more than 20 words. Everything else. So that just basically tells me that someone can read it really quickly too. So that's awesome. So that's all there is to it for your on-page SEO. This is how you would SEO a page. And there's a whole bunch of other things that you can do to promote the page after you've published it and everything else. But that's for another video. So take care, and hope you enjoyed this.